everybody, and welcome to the Scoundrel Scamp Theatre. It's so great to have you all with us this evening. My name is Zach Austin. I am one of the co-artistic and managing directors here at the Scoundrel and Scamp. And I just wanted to give a brief shout out to Annika Maher, who is up in the booth, the other co-artistic and managing director at the Scoundrel and Scamp. And we are so excited to be working and putting up the Precursors for you this evening. I have a couple of thank yous, a couple of upcomings, and then we'll kind of get out of your hair, and very excited for you to see this performance. A thank you first to our season sponsors, Christy Lewis and Brad and Steph Austin. Without your help and generous donations, work like this could not continue here in Tucson, and we just want to thank you for all of that. Also, a huge thank you to the ALTA organization. It has been, it's just such a blessing and a pleasure to work with ALTA and get to host this event. This is our 5th time partnering and hosting it here, and we just are so grateful that we get to do that with you. It is also, it is my job to remind us all about the cell phones and the cough drops and lozenges policy. Please silence your cell phone now. It is the year 2025. Not all of our cell phones turn all the way off, so silent will work. And if you brought any cough drops, lozenges, anything that might crinkle during the performance, we are live streaming this performance this evening. So in an effort to make it as clean and clear as possible for that live stream, I'm going to talk for a little bit. If you could just open up anything now, that would be great. I'd rather it be over me than over the actors. I just wanted to say briefly just how important translated work is to not only Tucson, but us here at Scoundrel and Scamp. It has been a part of our identity to work on plays that are not always even originally written in English. And it is so exciting for us to get to work and partner with ALTA again for the 5th year, because it is a huge part of our mission and who we are as a theater. So again, thank you for allowing us and welcoming us into your conference. I also want to thank our Scoundrel and Scamp reading committee. There were a handful of us who read a number of submissions, and it was a true challenge to decide which play we were going to do. And I'm so grateful for all of the time that you all spent helping us decide on that. Before I get going, I also wanted to name every artist that has helped us get to this point tonight. So first I would like to thank Luis Sorolla for writing this play originally, Don Bogen, who translated this play. I'd like to thank our director, Don McMillan. I'd like to thank all of the actors that are going to join us here on stage in a moment. Tristan McRocklin, Rachel Pazos, Rourke Polzin, and Petra Polzin. Thank you so much for your work on this. I also want to thank Brian Falcone for producing and helping us with the live stream and doing all of the tech help. Thank you so much, Brian, for all of the work that you're doing on this as well. And before I turn it over to Kelsey, I also wanted to remind you guys that there will be a talk back after this performance, this presentation. So if you'd like to join us, please stick around and be thinking about all of those questions that you might have for any of the artistic team that you see on this stage. And without any further ado, please, Kelsey, come join me.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming tonight. I'm Kelsey, I'm ALTA's program director. And for those of you who are here in the audience who are local here in Tucson, ALTA stands for the American Literary Translators Association. And so if you haven't heard of us, ALTA is a membership organization. We serve translators, educators, publishers, anyone who contributes to the literary translation ecosystem. And so right now our conference is going on. Our annual conference is here in Tucson every other year. And almost 400 literary translators have descended upon Tucson and are spending these days talking about the art and the craft and the practice of literary translation. And theater translation is a vital part of that. I think people are often quick to think of poems and novels and short stories as literature, but theater translation maybe doesn't get quite as much attention, and so that's why it's huge for us to be in our 5th year of this Plays in Translation contest with the Scoundrel Scamp Theatre. And so the way that that works is there's an open call and people can submit translated plays from any language around the world into English. And we have a team at ALTA, a theater committee that does the reading of those submissions and creates kind of a short list that's passed on to Scoundrel and Scamp for them to pick what they think would work best in their space. And so I wanted to just name and thank the folks who are on that theater committee who did the hard work of reading all of those submissions. So our theater committee is Neil Blackadder, who's here, we can give him a round of applause, as well as Taylor Gaines and Slava Fabish, who was the winner of the 2023 Plays in Translation contest. Yes. The other readers are Lauren Finch and Amanda Andre, and I think I'm forgetting someone.
You said Slava, and I think you
And Slava. Okay. Well, yeah, that's it. Thank you all so much. I'm excited, as you are, to watch this staged reading. Thanks again to Scoundrel and Scamp for their excellent work producing this work of literature, and to Don for translating.
And without any further ado, please join me in welcoming the cast of The Precursors by Luis Sorolla and translated by Don Bogen.
The Precursors by Luis Sorolla, translated by Don Bogen. In the distance, as if dropping from the sky, a sound like the string of some instrument breaking is heard drifting away, sadly, as it dies. Silence falls, and only one sound is heard from far away, that of axes chopping down the cherry trees. Anton Chekhov, The Cherry Orchard. It is easier to imagine the end of the world than the end of capitalism. Frederick Jameson. There's no need of a story. A story is not compulsory. Just a life. That's the mistake I made. One of the mistakes. To have wanted a story for myself, whereas a life alone is enough. Samuel Beckett, Stories and Texts for Nothing, 4. The space. A theater with its walls, seating, control booth, stage, etc. And a clearing in the middle of a forest. A camping tent. There are no traces of civilization. The props. An old radio, old ice chests, some children's cups, 3 old flashlights, an equally old thermos, a canteen, maybe some clothes. All these props have been repaired and patched together. Way up in a tree is a screen, like those that indicate whose turn it is in a market. A programmable LED screen with red numbers. The cord for the screen runs down the tree trunk and is buried in the ground. One of those old red plastic ticket dispensers you'd find at the heart of any market is attached to the trunk of a nearby tree. On one side of the scene, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of different matchboxes. There could easily be 47 million matches. Scene 1. In the dark, we hear the sounds of a Roadrunner cartoon, but as if they were coming from a distance or from underwater. We see only the faces of Petra, cartoon sounds become distorted, and they get more and more distorted over time, turning into a single foreign sound, threatening and violent. When the sound seems as if it can't get any louder, it suddenly stops, and the three young people wake with a start.
Suddenly, the door of my room is thrown open. Quick, grab your backpack. It's happening. My father's firm voice blots out what was left of the dream I was in and sends a shockwave down my back. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. I hear hurried footsteps and shouts and people fighting in the distance. Jeans, boots, my winter coat. Quick, grab your backpack. It's happening. My father's hand suddenly reaching to grip my arm, pulling me all the way down the corridor. There's no time. I hear my aunt as she is silenced by sight. Her eyes can't register. I hear sounds from a radio with words like chaos, apocalypse. News that my mind as a child can't understand, can't take in. The boxes in the trunk. Do it. My mother. Pum-pum. Pum-pum. Quick footsteps in the corridor, or the beat of my heart, I can't tell which. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It comes to me, I left the famous 5 book on the bedside table, but it's too late. We can't go back. We can't stop. The cold morning air slaps me in the face. Remember all we rehearsed, my dearest. Remember, remember, remember. It's happening. My feet touch ground by the car. I open the trunk and put things where we rehearsed. With the boxes of tin cans and the tent, my mother keeps bringing things out as fast as she can and leaving them by the blue opal. My father barking out orders. The plan, dear one. Remember everything we rehearsed. It's happening. I keep loading things as fast as I can. My arms hurt, but I don't stop. You have to be brave like the grown-ups. You have to be brave. Remember what we rehearsed. My mother helps me with the heavy things. You're doing great, my dearest. Everything will be fine. From next door, I hear something like, you know what to do? Help us! But my father shouts one of those grown-up swear words and something else I don't catch because I'm hearing sounds I don't recognize. That's when I look. The sky is an impossible color, as if dust from the rust-colored fence were falling from above. Like the first time you clean the watercolor brush in the glass, but I don't like this because this is true. There's a building in flames, and I don't know if it's the supermarket or the church. I don't recognize anything. I don't know why I think about the blow-up crocodile. There are people running and shrieks and glass on the floor, and it's dark. And near the mailbox, where the mailbox used to be, there's somebody with a stick beating what looks like a worn-out carpet, but that's not what it is. In the background, I see a grown-up crying in the middle of the street. No, but nobody hears her because nobody's stopping. And then a car seems to speed down the same street and... Don't look, my dearest, but I've already seen it. There's smoke like the time that hurts like when I left the cup stuck to the frying pan, and you hear more silence like the kind I'd imagine when I used to imagine, and it's happening. It's because there's no food. That's what Papa used to say. It's because they want to hurt us. That's what Mama used to say. And the street doesn't look like my street, and when Mama told me I'd know what to do, she didn't tell me that the neighbor in front would be crying very softly. And I hear my father shouting, "Who's paranoid now?" But it can't be my father. He's holding Octopus. What a name for a dog, Octopus. You're not a child anymore. It's happening. The plan, the neighbor in the front crying, and I'm... If you get any closer, I'll kill you. And I'm saying, help us. We don't know what to do, and nobody's listening. The sound of gunshots brings me back to reality. My father grabs me by the waist and shoves me into the back seat of the car. Let's go, now, now. The trunk slamming shut and the engine accelerating, and out the backseat window I see our house, which doesn't look like our house, moving further and further away. And I see our dog, which doesn't look like our dog now, and I see a Siberian Husky that isn't my dog now, tied to the cherry tree in the yard, barking like crazy, while we move further and further away. Well, a part of me also moves away from the me, the way it always does. And my mother puts on a music tape at full volume, says, "Remember the plan, darling." And I crouch between her seat and mine, and before I put the coat, I see the fire and smoke everywhere. And then I hide, and from under the coat I hear, "You stay under the coat. Whatever happens, you don't get out until I tell you to, okay? Okay? Okay." And I take my flashlight out from under the coat, and I shine it on my hand. And I concentrate on my hand, because it's happening again. And I tell myself a story about what I don't remember. And time passes. And each time there's less noise. And at a certain point, my mother turns off the music. And my parents have stopped talking. Better turn off the lights. And we're moving more slowly. And time passes. Time passes. I don't know how long. And at some point, we arrive. I hear the car doors open. I wake up. The trunk, in the distance, the field, the humidity, the smell of the forest. It's the place from the plan. And it's like the photos that they taught us, map and the compass, except at night. And there are more kids, 2 others like me, who look scared. Not like me. I'm not afraid because I'm old enough now, and I'm very tired. And they put me in the sleeping bag. My father puts me in the sleeping bag inside the tent. This is home now. While in the distance, things are being unloaded. The sound of trunks. Is it happening, or has it already happened? I've done a good job, right? I followed the plan. I ask, not knowing if this is a dream. Yes, you've done it very well, my dearest. You've done well. I'm very proud of you. And I ask, is it over now? Yes, dear one. It's all over. It's all over. But I'm too sleepy to ask what it is that's over. Then they give me a kiss, maybe, and I hear their voices from another world that's already not the one I'm in, saying, "Now you have to tell it all. You have to tell it all."
Silence. Day is breaking. Little by little, the place where we are becomes visible. The forest, the tent, the trees, the small ice chest, the LED screen with its numbers, 8 of them, all set to 0. The matchboxes, the pile of used matches, all kinds of matches.
And the next morning, we wake up and they aren't there. My parents aren't there. No one. The cars aren't there. The 3 of us alone.
Him and her and me.
Him and her and me.
Her and her and me.
Here
in what's home now. And remember the plan. Now you have to tell it all.
Scene 6107. It is morning, shortly after dawn. Rachel, Petra, and Rourke are inside the tent, asleep. We hear the beginning of Morning Mood from Peer Gynt, but only the first few seconds. like an alarm clock repeating a single sound. Rachel, Petra, and Rourke leave the tent, ready to begin a new day. They don't seem to have heard the music. Then they stand up and take their places, watching the number screen, which continues to read 0. Sometimes they do something on their own, but mostly they look at the numbers and they wait. They wait. They're not going to do anything else until they finish doing this, because that's how it is. After a while,
Hey, look!
Ah,
Yes.
silence. Time.
How'd everyone sleep?
Fine.
You?
fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, sure, fine.
Want more? Ah, I think it's come back. I think it's come back. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows my sadness.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, that's it. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows. That was it.
Nobody knows
Nobody knows my sadness, right?
Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows my sadness.
My sorrow.
My sorrow? Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows my sorrow.
Oh, Zazu, do lighten up. Sing something with a little bounce in it. And then...
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day.
No, anything but that. Anything but that.
Stick with me and you'll never be hungry again. Pa-pa, pa-pa, pa-pa. I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. There they are, standing in a row. Big ones, small ones, some as big as your head. Oh, I never had to do that with Mufasa.
Says Zazu, grabbing the bars of the bone cage with his wings.
What? What did you say?
Nothing. All I said was, mustard.
You know the law. Never ever mention family. And then, I want to get out! I want to get out!
I want to get in! I want to get in! Don't eat us!
Let them go.
And the hyena! Who is that pig?
Are you talking to me?
Uh-oh, he called him a pig.
Are you talking to me?
I know nothing!
Are you talking to me?
We're gonna have a problem here!
I am a respectable warthog, not a pig! Ah!
A carrying?
And the hyenas and the bones of the cage and the dust and branches in the air and in the distance, fire everywhere. And the smoke and the destruction and everyone died. Nobody survived and all that's left...
Fire?
Of course there's fire.
The fire is from when we came here. From the last day. That's not from the movie.
But there's also fire in the movie, right?
There is?
It's in the distance, but yes. It's when everyone dies.
they continue to watch the numbers on the screen, waiting.
Nobody knows my sorrow.
They go on, waiting.
Maybe these are all the things that happened. They're the stories of all the things that have occurred.
We don't know that.
Want more? Even so, we still have to tell it all. We're the only ones who know there's a plan. We have to tell it all. There's nothing more.
The demiurge enters. They change the number from 0 to 2.730.199. The demiurge leaves.
Number 2.730.199.
2.730.199.
Rourke opens one of the ice chests they have and takes out a few books with yellowed pages. They are very well cared for, but even with that, the passage of time is noticeable. Rourke looks up the number corresponding to the number on the screen.
Esteban Fresneda.
We have to tell it all, and today we tell the story of Esteban Fresneda.
At the same time, Petra pulls 3 tickets from the dispenser in a tree.
110 and white. Red, red, and white.
The story of Esteban Fresneda.
They gather up the props to be used in the story they've begun. They will also use at least one match to represent the protagonist of the story.
Let's go. Ready?
Yes. Or
Just a minute. Ready.
Number
2.730.199. The story of Esteban Fresneda.
The announcement that announces a lost child speaks.
From the system of loudspeakers in the supermarket, the announcement that announces a lost child sounds.
Esteban Fresneda hears the announcement, but he pays no attention.
From the PA system in the supermarket, the announcement that announces something sounds, but Esteban Fresneda pays no attention.
Esteban Fresneda doesn't need to pay attention to the announcements from the PA system. He hasn't lost his child because he doesn't have children. And he doesn't have time to listen to the announcements of the supermarket PA system.
There is a sale at Kmart on Saturday at noon. Who the hell told them to put a sale at Kmart on Saturday at noon?
But that's what you get when you work your fingers to the bone all week long.
To deliver the goods.
To the shoppers who put pressure on his boss,
Put pressure on him.
who then decides to put pressure on the floor manager, because that's the way the food chain works in the business, and he may be the first guy who doesn't like it, but that's the way things are, man. If you don't like it, someone else will come along.
And here we are on Saturday at 12, running a sale at Kmart, crammed with people.
Crammed with people.
Crammed with people who push and shout and stop in the middle of the aisle and take up the entire aisle.
And with kids who get lost and demand 4 different kinds of cereal from exhausted mothers with dark circles under their eyes who ask, when was it exactly that life passed me by?
And men who spend 2 minutes in front of the jam section, deciding which kind to buy, blocking the space, and with people who push you, who abruptly turn.
And Esteban Fresneda, in the middle of all those people, trying to remember where in the hell they put the soy sauce. It's in the specialty aisle, in the sauce aisle, or the one for exotic cuisine.
People pile into Kmart, doing their weekly shopping, all at the same time so as to make the most of the weekend.
So as to, we can get it out of the way then.
So as to, we're going to the park this afternoon.
And Esteban Fresneda in the middle.
Esteban Fresneda in the middle.
Esteban Fresneda in the middle, looking for some soy sauce.
God, so many people.
Esteban Fresneda thinks, my God, when did we start to become so many people?
Esteban Fresneda thinks there's not enough room for so many people. There's not enough room.
Here in Kmart, in the world, there's not enough room.
Esteban Fresneda thinks, this is how everything that happens, happens.
And then,
And then something happens to Esteban. Someone comes up to him, one of the hundreds of people passing near him today, and puts an object in his hands.
Like this.
nothing more.
Someone comes up to him and puts an object in his hands.
As if it were nothing.
Without making any strange
As
moves.
if it were the most normal thing in the world.
And because the action is so normal, so fluid, so much like something you do every day, Esteban Fresneda realizes that someone has put an object in his hands a second after someone put an object in his hands.
And Esteban Fresneda takes the object, he holds it,
He holds the object a second before understanding that what happened is not normal, and that he's holding in his hands an object that someone just put there.
And Esteban looks down to see that in his hands he's holding a A grenade!
A grenade!
A grenade!
A grenade with its pin removed, and he's holding the grenade in his hands!
Esteban Fresneda has a grenade in his
With its
hands!
pin removed.
And then he's holding the trigger of the grenade in its neutral position. Now that there's no pin, what keeps the mechanism of detonation from engaging? Now that there's no pin in the hands of Esteban Fresneda grasping the grenade
Esteban Fresneda has a grenade in his hands.
in the middle of Kmart.
One Saturday at 12.
And he doesn't understand what's happening.
And soy sauce means nothing to him now.
And Esteban Fresneda feels an abyss opening beneath his feet.
Nobody around him has realized what has happened.
Nobody has realized that Esteban Fresneda is holding a grenade in his hands.
Nobody's seen a thing.
The whole world goes on shopping and pushing and stopping in the middle of the aisles while Esteban Fresneda is paralyzed, with his head going around in circles,
With his hands stiff from holding the cold metal.
thinking.
This is going to explode.
How long will it take for that to happen?
If he let go of it, would there be time to run away?
If he put it inside one of those display cases of frozen lasagna and then let go, would the damage be minimized?
Or maybe the exact opposite.
If he called the police?
Except that he'd have to let go of it in order to hold his phone.
He can't let go of it.
He thinks about how to explain this to the police.
Or how to explain himself to the first person who realizes what he has in his hands?
How to explain it in order to ask for help?
Excuse me, look, somebody put a grenade in my hands.
He wonders if there might be a parking area where he'd be able to let go of it and run.
He thinks he's going to kill someone.
Inevitably.
I'm going to kill someone.
He thinks about his parents.
For some reason, he thinks about his high school girlfriend, the one who told him.
You're entertaining enough, but still. He thinks about how the world is crazy.
About how this can't be happening.
But why me?
This can't be happening.
This is surely one of those new types of terrorist attacks.
With so many armed gangs these days, you'd lose count.
No, this isn't real.
That somebody tells him this isn't real.
Somebody tells him everything will turn out fine.
That somebody tells him he's not going to die.
Esteban Fresneda starts hyperventilating.
His heart's going a mile a minute.
He's having a panic attack.
An adorable old lady asks him if everything's okay.
She comes up to him and asks him,
Touching his arm softly.
Are you okay, young man?
"Are you okay, Esteban?"
Hyperventilating.
Are you feeling dizzy?
This can't be happening.
I'm about to.
I'm about to.
That's it!
The lights go out. In the dark,
The last thing Esteban hears before he loses consciousness is a supermarket PA system announcing today's specials in the deli.
Rachel lights the Esteban Fresneda match. In the dark, it burns down till it goes out by itself. The lights and sound return to give us the forest. And again, we're in the clearing with the tent. The demiurge enters, goes to the screen, resets it to 0, and leaves. Rachel picks up the used match that represented Esteban Fresneda and puts it on the pile of used matches. Petra opens another ice chest, takes out an old radio and turns it on. The radio plays only static. They listen to the radio a good while. Petra gets up and goes inside the tent.
Didn't we first say not inside the house, then later only inside?
Leave it.
After a little while, to cheer Petra up, Rourke opens an ice chest, takes out an old instruction manual they've been saving.
Let the dough rise.
The
The
dough.
dough will rise more rapidly at room temperature and will not dry out. Start the procedure only when the baking compartment is completely cold.
Ooh.
Always let the dough rise twice. Note the advice in the adjustment tables to let the dough rest as a single piece the first time and cut into separate pieces the second
Final rise!
Primary rise! Place the dough in a heat-resistant bowl and set it on the grill. Adjust the temperature as indicated in the table. Attention! Do not open the door of the apparatus during the rising process, because to the contrary,
Dun da da!
moisture will escape. Do not cover the dough.
Not ever!
During the process, condensation builds up.
Condensation.
And when the fog's over, after the rise, clean the baking compartment. Final rise!
Final rise!
Arrange the sliced dough in the number of pieces desired at the level of insertion indicated in the table. If you wish to preheat the apparatus, the final rise must occur in a warm place away from the apparatus. The temperature and length of the rising process will depend on the type and quantity of the ingredients. For that, the data indicated in the table are only
For general orientation.
Petra. 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 Petra.
What?
Petra's listening.
What?
Nothing. You haven't said a peep.
Rachel!
Did you fart? Okay, a contest.
Okay.
Petra? A contest?
Which one?
Picture.
You playing?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. It's like a hook? No, not a hook. It's
It's like one of those things for shoes that has something like a little spoon at the end.
they are kind of long.
And brown.
They're green.
My grandfather's were brown.
Like a little spoon?
Yes. It was like that.
It was
What do you call that thing that's a shoe, but not exactly a shoe?
a boot?
A slipper?
No, it's...
A sole?
No, it's the whole shoe.
A footwear.
Footwear. It's like a shoehorn.
A shoehorn.
Shoehorn. Shoehorn. The one my grandfather had was brown.
My father, he had a wooden one.
Shoehorn.
Shoehorn.
Time passes.
Maybe they're all somebody's memories. It's all somebody's memories.
It's all one person's memories? They wouldn't just be from one person, they'd be from many people, or memories from something else.
Maybe they're memories from another world.
And why do we tell them?
Maybe we're the echo of things that others have said, and we ourselves are not actually telling the stories. All we do is repeat them. Or maybe we're the echo of an echo, or the echo of an echo of an echo. Maybe everything is an echo of something, and there's nothing left of the original sound.
Maybe we're the echo of ourselves.
Maybe this conversation has happened 1,000,000 times before, and what I'm speaking is the echo.
Rourke, this conversation has happened 1,000,000 times before.
Maybe all of this still hasn't occurred, and won't occur for a long time.
Then what is it?
Maybe everything we tell is some kind of experiment.
Suddenly, it's night in the forest.
Time for bed.
They turn off the radio, enter the tent. They take out toothbrushes, children's toothbrushes in very bad shape. They put toothpaste on the brushes and brush their teeth before bed. Then they take their shoes off, leaving them in the exact places they always do, and in the same order they always use. Enter the tent, from which we hear
Till tomorrow.
Till tomorrow.
Till tomorrow.
silence. The demiurge enters to check that everything is in order. They make sure the canteen is full, put a few props back where they belong, readjust the position of an odd spotlight. The demiurge picks up the little tickets Petra pulled from the dispenser and keeps them. When everything is ready, day breaks in the forest. Scene 6108. It is morning, a little after dawn. Again, we hear the beginning of morning mood. The same as the previous day. But this time, Petra, alarmed, runs out of the tent at full speed. It's the first time she hears the tune, which echoes loudly from an unknown place in the woods and repeats, growing in volume. Neither Rachel nor Rourke hear or acknowledge the sound. Rachel and Rourke leave the tent, ready to start a new day. The same way as the day before. Petra is the only one who has broken this pattern.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The three of them stand up and take their places watching the number screen, which continues to read 0. They wait.
How'd everyone sleep?
I don't know. I don't know.
You?
And you?
You're so fine.
They wait.
Maybe they're all stories that have never been told. Made up stories that were never told.
We don't know that.
Then why do we have to tell them all?
So that they aren't lost?
But they're lost anyway.
But they're told at least once, and so they have a reason for being. Because if they aren't told, they aren't stories.
We don't know that.
Exactly. We don't know that. We have to tell it all. And that's what we do because that's what we have to do. Meteorite.
Ooh, alien attack.
Zombies.
There's a devastating virus.
Dinosaurs are brought back to life for an amusement park.
The world freezes over.
The world heats up and all the water evaporates.
Sea level rises and the world is flooded and there's no land left.
And if there are things going on, and if what we tell are the things going on,
We don't know that.
no. What I'm saying is, maybe these things happen because we tell them. These things we tell, maybe when we tell them, they occur. Maybe as we tell them, we are making them happen.
Where?
What's the difference? Your turn.
No. And if telling it makes it real, and if we are making these things happen by telling them,
We don't know that. We have to tell them all because that's the plan. We can't not tell it.
okay, Rourke, but if we are ourselves, then it means we are.
We don't know that. But that's how it is. Your turn.
Your turn, Petra.
A president goes crazy and starts a nuclear war.
Some kind of AI that makes us all slaves.
The center of the world explodes and all the volcanoes erupt at once.
Man creates hyper-intelligent mutant monkeys and they get loose and make us all slaves.
A
The arrival of the Antichrist.
mythological monster wakes up after eons.
There's a never-ending storm and we all drown.
Ancient plagues unfreeze and kill us all. Come on, Rick.
There's a curse.
Which?
Hmm.
The mummy's curse? Which one, Rourke?
A curse that you have to kill whoever you think about.
Curse that they'll kill you while you're dreaming.
I'm sure there are more.
Now, the sun explodes.
That's for real. That's called the supernova.
It's for real, but it's also from the movies.
A planet crashes into us. Petra?
Petra.
Zombies, but super fast and nimble.
That doesn't count. That's how zombies already are.
But they're a different kind of zombie.
Yeah, right.
The demiurge enters and goes over to the number screen. None of the three see them going up to the screen. The demiurge changes the number from 0 to 8.907.340. The demiurge leaves.
Number 8.907.340.
8.907.340.
Rourke picks up the yellowed pages. Petra pulls the tickets. Rachel sets up the table.
Matilde Teredios.
We have to tell it all. And today we tell the story of Matilde Teredios.
320 and green. White, red, and green.
The story of Matilde Teredios.
Are we...
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, yes.
Number 8.907.340. The story of Matilde Teredios. The voice announces that a new ball has dropped.
On the 52-inch flat-screen TV mounted on the wall of the home, the voice announces that a new ball has dropped.
Matilde Teredios doesn't even bother to check if her bingo card has the number of the new ball that has dropped.
6 o'clock bingo in the Windmills Rest Home.
Matilde Teredios thinks, somebody shoot me in the face at 6 o'clock bingo in the Windmills Rest Home.
YouTube bingo.
But that's what the new situation has to offer.
Everything computerized and automated.
Everything telematic.
Everything isolated, and with only 2 attendants for the 100 residents to protect us from the outside world.
Or to reduce costs.
Or to make sure we see as little as possible.
Any of these 3 options.
Number 1919 sings the GPS voice on screen.
Giving his all to the pre-recorded bingo, the man in room 415 responds to the nothingness with Sweet 19. Know what I mean?
And Matilde Teredios returns to thinking that the person in 415 is losing his marbles.
On the first day, her daughter told her, "It's the only thing we can do, Mama."
With the cutbacks and the regulations and more people arriving all the time, her daughter told her.
"I wish there was something else I could do, Mama," she said again today on her cell phone.
And here we are, sitting in the common room of the Windmills Rest Home.
Sitting in the common room of this old folks' parking lot.
Of the abandonment of the ancients.
A virtual bingo app eat my pussy twice over, thinks Matilde Teredios.
And the bald man in 415 shouting, 48, now don't be late.
Like always.
But Matilde Teredios is not up for bingo.
Matilde Teredios is not up for canned sponge cake soaked in tea from a thermos.
And Matilde Teredios is considerably less up for listening to the guy in 415 with his sweaty forehead, lasciviously screaming, "Hot 15, she's oh so keen," when the number 15 ball drops.
According to my union card, I have 70 years of antiquity, thinks Matilde.
As for me,
Sorry.
I'd already been beaten by fascists at the age of young people today, thinks Matilde.
I'm already hoarse from saying over and over that the capitalist system established with the Industrial Revolution, continuing through Fordism, and perfected in the most ferocious neoliberalism, can only lead to crisis and self-destruction, and that in order to guarantee the survival of capitalism, it must remain in constant expansion, and therefore can only survive by continuing to exploit natural, human, sociological, and technological resources in an exponential manner, deliberately ignoring any sense of sustainability and responsibility. And since it has been a long time since we surpassed the barrier of responsibility and that of sustainability, our technical, social, human, and natural resources are condemned to inevitable destruction unless we end this system, thinks Matilde Teredios.
Except that Matilde Teredios is also not up for pontificating about the systemic crisis of post-Freudian neoliberalism in the common room of the Windmills Rest Home.
We haven't come here to give political speeches, we've come here to judge bingo.
And Matilde Teredios is content to mumble a simple,
Go fuck yourselves.
Number 5555, the GPS voice replies.
and the man in 415, while his sweat dries, says, 55 snakes alive.
Those who are missing, whispers Matilde Teredios.
And then,
And then-
Can't, under any circumstances, leave off telling the story. They've never not told a story. Nothing at all like this has happened before. This is a very serious problem that puts everything in danger.
And then something happens to Matilda. Something happens to Matilda. The man in 415. The man in 415.
The man in 415.
The man in 415.
The man in 415. No, the man. Matilda, man in 415. No.
The man in 415.
I can't. And if we're the ones.
Sarah. Petra, the man in 415. Who?
No,
Petra.
I can't. I'm sorry. I can't.
Rourke and Rachel understand nothing but that this is very serious. They have to go on, no matter what.
The man in 415 reaches his hand over to lift up his shirt and scratch the lower part of his shoulder. A normal gesture for a normal itch in a normal scratching place. The man in 415 lifts up his shirt to scratch. The man in 415 lifts up his shirt to scratch.
And Matilda sees it.
The rash.
Red.
With little white spots. The red rash with little white spots on the lower part of his shoulder.
And Matilda goes back to thinking about his sweaty forehead.
And his agitated breathing.
And the smell of dirty diapers.
And Matilda Tenedios knows.
She knows what's coming.
She knows the rate of transmission. She knows the symptoms. And understands that the man in 415 has all of them.
Bingo! Bingo's been called, ma'am.
Bingo's been called, Matilda.
Great. Of the 5 in circulation out there, one of them has to reach me, thinks Matilda. Matilda Teredios knows what's happening. And above all, she knows what's going to happen.
At the Windmills Rest Home with 2 attendants for every 100 patients.
With the
With
cutbacks.
the militaristic regulations.
And with everything that's happened so far.
Including virtual bingo, which just this moment drops ball number 69. And the man in 415 cheerfully sings out, 69, now that's just fine.
And Matilda Teredios thinks,
Let war, hunger, and disease devour the young. I've already lived my life. Matilda Teredios thinks.
92 years a champion, I'm going out on top. It's all settled then.
Matilda Teredios says out loud.
Matilda Teredios begins to take from her purse the bottle of barbiturates that have accumulated these last years.
One good thing about the reduced staff is that you can steal meds with impunity.
And there's a certain glamour about being hooked on barbiturates when you're over 90.
Matilda Teredios starts taking the pills, one after another.
One after another.
For the first time, she is grateful for the thermos tea.
Matilda thinks about her Ramon. She thinks about the last time she ate a good stew with sausage from the butcher. She thinks about her granddaughter and the shithole of a world we've left her.
For some reason, she thinks about how she will never know how the 5 o'clock soap opera turns out.
And that makes me happy because I can't stand that show. At that moment, the GPS voice sings out number 90.
It's the end of the game, ladies and gentlemen. It's the end of the game. The bald man in 415 shouts to the hall. Gerardo, you have no idea what's going on, she tells him.
And Gerardo turns toward Matilda, looks her in the eyes.
Gerardo looks Matilda in the eyes, and with great clarity, tranquility, and an almost joyful sense of resignation, says to her,
I know exactly what's going on, Matilda.
and Matilda bursts out in deep guffaws as Gerardo starts singing out random bingo numbers.
Lights out. In the dark.
The last sound Matilda Teredios hears are the virtual bingo saying, number 13, 1-3.
And Gerardo screaming, she's oh so keen.
lights the Matilde Terradios match. It burns down until it goes out by itself. When it's out, the light and sound return to give us the forest. Rachel and Rourke watch the number screen with a good deal of anxiety. For a while, it shows the number 8.907.340 without change. And continues without change. And continues without change. There's never been such a long time without a return to zero. Until the demiurge enters at last, goes up to the screen, changes it back to zero, and leaves.
May we please be informed of what just went on? Petra!
We have to tell it all, and we have to tell it well. That never stops.
What was that?
What if we go away?
What?
What if we go away? I can't do it anymore. I don't know if I can do it anymore. I can't do it anymore.
Go away where? There's nowhere to go. Beyond the trees, there's nothing left. Everything is gone. Remember the plan.
We don't know that.
What do you mean we don't know? Yes, we know. We do know this.
I had the dream again. It's always the same. Even in dreams, we don't have a moment.
Careful with the words. Careful with what you're setting up.
What are we? And if what we tell is the truth, and if it truly happens because we tell it, I want to stop.
Stop what?
This. I want to stop. This.
I don't understand you.
I need other things to happen. Something. I can't. Again,
What do you mean, other things? If every day we tell something new, something different, I don't understand you. Other things? We have infinity on our tongues and inside our heads. That's not enough for you?
That's not infinity. It's completely the opposite.
We speak words and build worlds. Every day a new world arises with the words we speak. With a new life, with every phoneme we produce, and with our rhythms, a new present bursting into creation. With its lives, with its possibilities, with its feelings, a new infinity loaded with all the infinities this infinity carries inside, loaded with people like us. Each one with their own desires and fears, each one with their own skin and their own lungs, with their own different thoughts passing like threads in the tapestry the three of us are weaving for them. Isn't it harmonious? Isn't it beautiful? Every morning I get up and I ask myself, what will it be today? What world will we create today?
But what is it we are telling? And it's not true, Rachel. We're not creating anything. We only talk about endings and people who die. And that doesn't change.
Yes, it does change.
No, whatever we tell, it's always the same. The forest, home, the numbers.
The
And
numbers
forget-
change.
But it's the same. And none of what we imagine
Of what we
lasts.
create.
It doesn't matter. Nothing lasts. We make invisible things. Things you can't touch. Don't you ask yourselves what the point of all this is? The words are for nobody.
We don't know that. They could be for
One
somebody.
story after another, accumulating, piling up, one on top of another, like a mountain of gold coins in a storybook dragon's hoard. Words and words wasted. they can be stacked up, who knows where, for what purpose?
What's important is we keep on telling it all.
Why? And while we waste words telling the same thing over and over, we're not saying anything else and nothing else happens. We're not telling this and nothing happens here.
This doesn't count.
This doesn't count. That's not the plan.
The plan was that we have to tell it all, and this is part of
And we
it all.
are telling it all.
No! We only talk about things that end and things that die.
Because maybe that's all there is. Maybe that's all. Maybe all that's left are endings. And maybe we have to be the one who we are because we're the last ones. And that means something. And we don't have to like it, but that's the way it is.
And this?
This doesn't count.
We have to tell the stories we have to tell. And nothing more. No other things. You can't tell other things. That's all there is.
But this, right now, is what's real. This, and this, and this, and this conversation, no, this discussion, because that's the word.
Stop saying this!
Here, this is what's real. And this hole I feel here,
That's hunger.
it's not hunger.
Then what is it?
I don't know. I don't have a word for what it is, but I feel it here.
If there's no word for it, then it doesn't exist. If you can't speak it, it's not real.
But it is real.
It's real only for you. I can't imagine it, so it's not anything here, out there in the world.
It's like a different kind of hunger. It's a sad hunger. Deeper. It feels. I feel I'm lacking something that isn't food and doesn't exist. You know what it is. I feel as if we may be only the outline of what we were in a place that we don't recognize at all.
I've got to get out of here.
This is here, and this, and you and me. Let's look at this, and let's tell this as it is. And let's tell this, and this, and this, and
If we tell it, it ends. This will end. We've already discussed that. This here is nothing. This place, this home, ourselves, nothing. It doesn't exist. Nobody can tell this.
we don't know that.
No, nothing else can be told. So this can't be told.
Yes, it can,
No. If we tell it, it ends.
says Rachel in a firm voice.
Silence. Very tense. This is a huge transgression. Rachel and Rourke can't believe their ears. Petra is equally surprised by what she's just done. But
What are you doing?
The new story number 1. The story of the friends in the forest.
What are you
You
doing?
can't tell this.
Says Rachel, rising nervously. She raises her voice.
You can't tell this. We've already discussed this.
We don't know that, says Petra, assured.
You weren't sure of anything.
Stop!
Says Rourke, who wants to get out of here. Rourke says stop while he thinks about going back inside the tent.
Stop.
To escape from this, but he knows.
I said
this
stop!
can't be escaped.
What do you want?
The new story number 1. The story of the friends in the
You
forest.
can't tell this. This is after the end. This where we are is after everything's ended. It was the end, and that's why they brought us here. And what's here can't be told because this is not happening. Because it's after the end of everything. And if this is happening, if we're telling the story of us here, if we're telling this, then it ends. Because the only thing that can happen after the conclusion is that everything ends. Everything. Everything.
We don't know that.
No. long as we don't talk about this here, it doesn't happen. It goes on without moving forward. And we have to tell all the stories. We can't tell anything else. That's the norm.
And what if we run out of words?
That's not going to happen.
Of course it's going to happen, Rourke. Everything has an end. That's exactly what we're saying. At some point, when we've finished telling everything, when everything has ended, we won't have anything to tell. And then? And if we're using up the last words, what are we using them for?
So that then we'll have told it all. And nothing will be left.
Rachel and Rourke start picking things up. They're waiting to see if Petra will join them, but she declines and sits on the ground, so they have to do it without her. The first thing they do is add the new used match to the pile of used matches. When they finish picking things up, Rourke is the one who rushes to turn on the radio. And they listen. They go on listening for a while. Time passes. A long time.
Say my name, say my name. You acting kinda shady and calling me baby. Why the sudden change? Say my name, say my name. No, if no one is around you, say baby I love you. You ain't running games. Say my name, say my name. If no one is around you, say baby I love you. If you ain't running game, say my name, say my name. You acting kinda shady and calling me baby. If
you ain't running game,
say my name, say my name. You acting kinda around you, say baby I love you. If you ain't running games, say my name, say my name. You acting kinda shady and calling me baby. Why the sudden change? Say my name, say my name.
Who did that song? The group? What was their names?
Beyond? No.
beyond something.
No. But the group's name, what was it? What was it?
Beyond fate? Wasn't that it?
It wasn't that, Rourke, but beyond something.
What was it? Beyond. Fuck, what was it?
Rachel!
Fuck, who the fuck was it? Fuck, why can't I remember? Who the fuck were they? What was their name?
Rachel.
Beyond fate. What? Fuck, who sang that? Beyond what? Beyond the wall? No.
Rachel, let it go!
Stop.
No! Say my name, say my name, say my name, say my name. Why the sudden change? If you ain't running game, say my name, their name. What the fuck? God! Fuck, who were they? Who the fuck? Why don't I remember?
Hey, Rachel! Stop!
Rachel, stop!
Rachel, please!
God damn it, what were they called?
We'll
Let it
remember it.
go.
We'll remember it tomorrow.
Fuck no! No, we'll never remember it tomorrow.
Rachel, it's just a song.
But who sang it?
It doesn't matter.
No, it does matter.
Come on, leave it.
No!
Come on, Rachel.
No, I don't want to forget this too. I don't want
it go. I'm sorry.
Me too.
Me too.
Super fast, agile zombies won't work. Then the world would fill up with so much garbage it would be unlivable.
People stop making babies and no one knows why.
There's so much pollution the crops disappear.
Mosquitoes infect and kill all the cattle.
Dolphins get tired of us and take over the world.
Polar inversion.
What's that?
I don't know, but it exists.
The world starts filling up with dust and people breathe dust.
Suddenly, it's night in the forest.
What craziness. I'm sure we let out a ton of swear words.
They turn off the radio, go to the tent. They get their toothbrushes and brush their teeth before they go to bed. Then they take off their shoes, leaving them in the exact places they always do, and enter the tent in the same order they always do.
Till tomorrow.
Till tomorrow.
Till tomorrow.
Silence. It is night in the forest. After a while, the demiurge enters to check that everything is in order. Because there isn't much water in the canteen, they replace it with another. When everything is ready, day breaks in the forest. Scene 6109. It is morning, a little after dawn. We hear the beginning of Morning Moon, the same as always. Petra hears it again this morning. Not hearing the music and unaware, Rachel and Rourke once again repeat their morning pattern of actions. Petra is the only one who realizes the canteen has been replaced by a different one today. Then the three watch the number screen, which remains at 0. They wait.
How did
The demiurge enters and changes the number screen from 0 to 5.149.362. The demiurge leaves.
Number 5.149.362.
5.149.362.
They gather up the things they're going to use.
Daniel Aruetes.
We have to tell it all, and today we tell the story of Daniel Arjuetes.
811 and blue. Blue, silver, and blue. Okay,
Let's go. Let's go.
sure.
Yes. Yes. The story of...
The story of...
Oh, no, wait.
What?
What is... No.
No, what?
811.
No. Wait a minute.
We can't wait. We have to know
Just
it
a
all.
minute.
What's up, Rurik? No, what is it, Rurik?
It's... I don't understand. It's that he's my brother. Daniel Aruetes is... He's my brother.
What?
Yes. My name is... Yes.
Are you sure? You haven't made a mistake?
No, in my school books I'd write, and on the mailbox too.
How do you know you're not just making this up? This is from long ago, from before home. How do you know it's a real memory and not something you made up?
Because I know it now.
Silence. They don't know what to do.
We have to tell a story. We have a number and we have to tell a story.
No,
But we have to tell it all.
it's my brother.
But we have a number and we have to.
No, I don't want to tell this story. Let's not tell this story.
We have a number.
No,
We can't not.
it's my brother.
So, we have to tell it all. It all, right? So this too.
What do you mean, so? What? Why?
Because we have to tell it all.
But why?
Because that's what we do. That's what we are. Remember the plan. And the plan is that we have to tell it all.
Why? We don't know that. And
But we tell it.
yes, but maybe telling is what makes it real, right? Right? And if telling it is what makes it real,
We don't know that.
that's what you said, Petra. How if telling it makes it happen in reality?
I also said that maybe the stories are things that happened in the past, or that never happened, or that we don't know that.
Come on, Petra. You said it became real as they were told. And if we tell this story about my brother, and that, as you said, is what makes it actually happen,
And you said we don't know that.
you said you wanted to stop, right? That you wanted to tell something else? Then let's do that. You've convinced me. Let's stop.
No, Rourke.
Let's do that. Let's stop. Let's stop.
No.
Petra? Petra.
I don't dare.
What?
This is the only thing there is.
What if we tell something else?
We've already discussed this.
And if we only tell these stories because that's all we know, what if we're actually able to tell other things?
Which things?
Others!
What others? Which ones?
I don't know.
Because there aren't any others, Rourke. What we tell is all there is. It's all that remains. There's nothing else.
We don't know that. Maybe there are other things.
What others? What happened, happened. That's what we tell. The story of... This is the story we're going to tell. Number 5.149.362. Rourke.
There's a number waiting. There's never been such a long period of time without. We have to tell it.
No.
We have to tell it all.
No!
The number.
Right, we have to tell it all. That's the only thing we know.
No, we don't know that.
Right.
Yes, that, yes. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe we're only...
Maybe that's all there is.
We don't know that.
Exactly, we don't know that.
Exactly, we don't know that. Maybe. We don't know that. We don't know anything. We only know that this exists. This here, home, the forest, the numbers and the stories, this is the only thing we know. This is what we are. This is what we are. There's nothing else. If not, what? And if telling it is not important, if we're not able to do it, if this is not the plan that we have to complete, if this is not important, then why do it? Why all of this? Why all the years? Why the numbers? Why the plan? And why this home? Why the forest? Why you have to tell it all? Why this?
Please.
I'm sorry, Rourke.
I don't understand this. Who are we?
We have to tell it all, and today we tell number
No,
5.149.
no. No, stop.
You can hear the
Stop!
water. Sorry, you said it yourself. You can hear the water starting to boil in the kettle.
Please stop.
I'm sorry, Rourke. We have to tell it all.
Maybe we've already told this story 1,000 times before. Maybe we're not ourselves, but only an echo. Maybe we're not the ones telling it. We don't know. We just know one thing.
Rourke, it has to be done. Number 5.149.362.
The story of Daniel Arahuetes.
You can hear the water starting to boil in the kettle.
In Unit 803 of the former Golden Marina Hotel. In the background, you can hear the water starting to boil in the kettle.
Daniel Arahuetes has the packet of good evening tea in his hand, but he doesn't go over to the kettle.
Good evening tea at 8 in the morning.
Daniel Arahuetes hasn't taken off his rain boots or packed up his work things, because Daniel Arahuetes is too stunned by the notice he has just finished reading.
Raise in rent.
Daniel Arahuetes has just been informed that his rent has been raised by 63%.
63%.
The rent for Unit 803 of the former Golden Marina Hotel of Vacation City.
And Daniel Arahuetes thinks, how am I going to afford living anywhere other than right up against the ocean on the crap I earn?
How am I gonna pay for something that isn't even a real apartment in a former hotel with its reception area permanently flooded from the rise in sea level? Thinks Daniel Arahuetes.
But that's what I get working as a drone delivery man.
Or a professor.
Or an online lawyer.
Or any other job offering the false autonomy of working from home.
Where the pay is crap because anyone will take it, and on top of that, you're supposed to be grateful.
And that's how it is in the Golden Marina Vacation City.
Inundated by the rise in sea level.
Inundated by the typhoons and tropical storms.
Inundated by the fucking poor who can't pay enough to live anywhere else.
By the fucking poor like me. Thinks Daniel Arahuetes.
Daniel Arahuetes sighs and lifts a packet of good evening tea to see whatever message they've put on the tag.
Follow your heart and you will be more efficient.
What bullshit, sighs Daniel Arahuetes while he looks out the window at the sea view from Unit 803.
With his tea bag dangling from one hand.
And his Garrett the parrot mug, named for one of the Golden Marina mascots, in the other.
Daniel Arahuetes looks out at the rust-covered ruins of what was once the Golden Marina Fantasy World Amusement Park.
Looks at the broken plastic water sleds of the Polynesian Aquatic Park.
Looks at the roof of what had been the For Little Ones spa.
And says,
It's not like I'm gonna miss Polly the octopus in the end.
The fall of the Roman Empire, he also says.
although that perhaps is to provide urbanistic speculation at the end of the 20th and beginning of the 21st centuries with a partial sense of historical cultural transcendence.
But more than anything, Daniel Arahuetes thinks,
It sucks.
yes, briefly.
It sucks.
And Daniel Arahuetes feels that Daniel Arahuetes feels that those two words capture it.
They capture it quite well.
From the double bed with the maritime-themed sheets, we hear the voice of his partner, who tells him,
Come to bed.
come to bed at 8 in the morning.
Just like that, without good evening tea or anything.
Without stable housing or security of employment.
Just come to bed.
What I'm going to do yet again is take up idealism, thinks Daniel Arahuetes.
Idealism. You said it.
And then,
And then something happens to Daniel. Daniel realized that his good evening tea is swaying, a normal kind of swaying. for a normal teabag in a normal room.
But then Daniel realizes that it's not the tea bag that's swaying.
What's swaying is his hand.
More substantially, what's swaying is himself.
And also the ceiling lamp.
And the curtains?
And the furniture.
And the walls.
The entire building is swaying, shuddering, and trembling.
Just a little at the beginning, but stronger with each wave.
And Daniel Arouetas looks down at his feet as if there was some kind of explanation there.
Books and plates start falling from the shelves.
From the bed, we hear a frightened voice saying, "What's going on?"
And Daniel Arouetas is standing in the middle of the room with a packet of good evening tea and its positivist new age message in one hand.
And the Garrett the Parrot mug in the other.
And without knowing if this is an earthquake, a landslide, or a sign that the water has finally claimed the foundations of the building,
Whatever the cause, Daniel Arouetas knows it's all coming down.
It here meaning this.
The building.
his life.
The Golden Marina.
Daniel Arouetas remembers an American movie where there was an earthquake and the hero stood under a door frame.
To protect himself.
But the only door frame in Unit 803 is the one for the bathroom.
And for Daniel Arouetas, the prospect of dying in the shadow of a bathroom doesn't appeal.
Because Daniel Arouetas knows that, most likely, he's going to die.
The idea of dying without knowing why this building is collapsing pisses me off.
Daniel Arouetas is scared.
His heart's going a mile a minute.
He wishes this were all a nightmare.
He thinks about how he's angry now for having set aside the Polly the Octopus mug for breakfast, as he had a special fondness for that mug.
When you get down to it, he never really liked Garrett the Parrot.
How oddly the mind functions, the mind of Daniel Arouetas thinks.
A crack spreads across the wall of the room.
One of the bookshelves falls to the ground.
One of the windows comes loose and explodes.
Above the noise, his partner asks, "Are we going to be okay?" And Daniel Arouetas thinks about whether he should lie.
He thinks that above all, he wishes his partner weren't there.
He thinks
about his family.
He thinks about how the game of Jenga is a good metaphor without using it.
For some reason, he thinks about the L4 bus from Center City and the soccer games they used to play in the fields.
The roof starts to crack open.
The ceiling lamp falls.
In an act of rebellion, Daniel Arouetas decides to take the mug from which he is about to drink good evening tea and smash it on the floor.
Daniel Arouetas throws the Garrett the Parrot mascot of the Golden Marina mug on the floor, thinking,
I myself broke that.
Whoa.
I myself broke that!
Good night, Garrett the Parrot.
"Good night, Daniel."
Just as the moment when Daniel Arouetas throws his mug, the floor starts opening beneath their feet.
And the Golden Marina Hotel begins to collapse.
Unit 803 included.
The lights go out, one by one. The sound space ends, leaving a silence in the air.
The last thing Daniel Arouetas hears is the pipes of the building bursting and the sound of approaching water.
In the dark, Rourke lights the Daniel Arouetas match. It burns and consumes itself until it goes out on its own. The demiurge enters, goes up to the screen, sets it back to 0, and leaves. No one looks at the screen. Time passes. Time passes. Nothing is heard from inside the tent. That night, Demiurge doesn't come. slowly, very slowly.
Rachel! Rachel!
What?
I knew you were awake.
How?
Because I just knew. That's all.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
What do you think?
I had another. I'm sorry, tell yours.
No, I'm sorry. Tell yours. Mine was just stupid. Tell yours.
I'm feeling sleepy again.
Yeah. I know.
Why do you think it exists?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay if I go back to telling you?
Sure.
Because I find it calming.
I said it's okay.
Yes.
While all this is happening, outside the tent, Rourke starts to move. He gathers up the things he needs and sits down to build a model of the tent. He'll make use of cardboard, sticks, rope, and above all, the yellowed page with his brother's name they ripped out of the notebook.
So in the dream, we are sleeping, and while we slept, someone in the distance was chopping down the forest. Or it could be I was aware that I was sleeping, and that while I slept, someone in the distance was chopping down the forest.
Who?
I don't know. Someone.
This part is new, right?
Yes.
That part is new today. That part wasn't in the dream before.
No. No.
Go on.
So while someone was chopping down the trees in the distance, I dreamed that Minnie and Mickey Mouse were in a motorhome. And in the dream, they were driving their motorhome through a desert, like the one where Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote live, that typical cartoon character desert. And for some reason, the motorhome had left the road and was headed straight for a cliff. Either they didn't realize they were getting near a cliff, or maybe they weren't able to brake in time. The idea is that the motorhome stopped at the very last minute, reaching a state of perfect equilibrium past the edge of the cliff, none of the tires touching the ground. The motorhome is suspended at the center of a single point of equilibrium over the abyss, without falling, yet without any support from the ground. And Mickey and Minnie, who are inside,
And Pluto. And Pluto.
and Mickey and Minnie and Pluto, who are inside the motorhome, don't move a muscle. They remain still, out of fear they'll tip the motorhome over the edge.
The cartoon character's motorhome suspended in perfect equilibrium just past the edge of the cliff.
And in the dream, Minnie and Mickey and Pluto spend a few days there, in this situation, without moving, out of fear of triggering their drop. And their only hope is that somebody comes by, sees them, and helps them. But they know they're in a desert, a cartoon character desert. And in cartoons, deserts are deserts. So the only thing they can do is wait. All the while knowing deep down there is no solution for the situation in which they find themselves. And since cartoon characters don't need to eat or drink, they can stay like that forever, waiting, on pause.
Like the computer some engineers taught to win at Tetris. You know this one?
Yes, but tell it anyway.
Some engineers taught a computer to play video games so it could figure out the most efficient way of winning. And one day they taught it to play Tetris. The problem is that there's no way to win at Tetris. In Tetris, you try to reach the best possible score. To do that as well as possible before you accumulate so many blocks that you lose. But there's no way you can avoid losing. In the end, there's no other possible result. It's a question of time. And the computer wants to win. It wants it, it wants it, it wants it. And a point arrives where it understands how the game works. And when it discovers that you can't win at Tetris, that there's no way of avoiding defeat, the computer realizes that all it can do is, just before dying, set itself on pause. Leave the game in pause and keep the game in pause forever. And that's what the computer does, and the game continues in pause to this very day because it understood that the only way to avoid losing a game you can't win is to set it in pause and never go back to play mode.
To this very day?
Excuse me?
You said to this very day. Do you think the computer is still on?
It was a figure of speech.
I know it's a figure of speech, but I'm asking if you think the computer is still on.
No, I don't think so.
I don't either. I don't think that computer still exists. Maybe nothing still exists. Maybe it's time that has put itself on pause to avoid losing. But do you think if it still existed and they plugged it back in, do you think it would still be on pause?
I think the computer would prefer that nobody ever plug it in again. Go on with the dream.
So, Minnie, Mickey, and Pluto are in their motorhome in a state of perfect equilibrium just over the cliff in that animated cartoon desert. They're on pause, just like the computer.
Yes.
Waiting over the abyss without the possibility of doing anything. And in the dream, Minnie and Mickey are talking. They talk about how they're doing.
Don't skip the part about Pluto. I really like when you tell that part.
Sorry. Minnie and Mickey are talking while in the back of the motorhome, Pluto sleeps, dreaming of the past. In my dream, Pluto is dreaming about how, when he was a black and white dog, he had the simple and happy adventures of cartoon dogs in black and white, instead of these strange adventures in Technicolor.
That's the part I like.
Me too. The thing is that, in my dream, Minnie and Mickey are talking about the situation in which they find themselves, and they talk about the future. They talk about whether to have kids. Mickey and Minnie are having a conversation about whether to become parents, about whether they want to bring someone into this world, about whether it makes sense to bring someone into this future, whether it's just. Especially now that they're in a motorhome suspended in equilibrium over a cliff in the middle of the desert. In my dream, someone says at some point,
How can we start talking about having children if we don't talk about the end of the world?
and they talk about how nobody asked them if they wanted to be cartoon characters, or if they wanted to tell this story in which they find themselves, or which story they wanted to be a part of, how they've always told the stories of others. They ask if now is the time for them to question all this, or to think about what they want to tell. I don't remember very well how the conversation goes, and I always wake up before they decide anything. But I do remember one sentence. At the beginning of the conversation, Minnie says to her husband,
I'm okay. What's going on is that I feel it will take a great effort for me to be able to feel I'm okay.
right, I'm okay. What's going on is that I feel it will take a great effort for me to be able to feel I'm okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So, did you dream anything?
Yes.
What? Only if you want to tell me.
Yes. I dreamed I was sleeping, and that I woke up because I heard noises. I looked around and I saw I was alone in the tent. That I went out to see who was making the noise, and as I did, the sky was an impossible color, like dark red with green and bluish purple, and rust. And I saw the two of you standing there, a ways from the table, cutting down the forest. Work was more in the background, loaded down more, and you were closer, as if you had just started just a little while ago. You were carrying about half of the wood, but you didn't seem tired. And I was scared because the numbers were on fire, but it didn't bother you. And I asked both of you what you were doing. I screamed, "What are you doing?" And Rourke looked at me and said, I need something to happen.
I need something to happen.
And then I looked down, and I, too, had an axe in my hand.
Rourke puts away everything near the table where they told stories and replaces it all with a model of the tent he just completed. Scene 6110. They look at the model and the table and Rourke. They go over to where Rourke is and join him. Rourke picks up a match to represent himself and stands it up against the model. Petra and Rachel watch him. and then they do the same. Peer Gynt starts up. This time, the three of them hear it. Petra goes over to the tree where the LED screen is set up. She starts digging. She digs up an extension cord right where it connects with another. She picks it up. She looks at it. They look at it. Peer Gynt keeps playing. They're watching the screen. They turn to look. Petra calmly takes a breath and pulls the connection apart. Scene 1. The screen set at 0 goes blank. Peer Gynt suddenly stops. For some time, nothing happens. The only thing we hear is the forest. The sound of the forest starting to dismantle itself little by little. Reeling with vertigo, the three look around, taking in the new state of things. What just happened? What they just did. They breathe, perhaps relieved, perhaps scared, perhaps excited, perhaps feeling something they never felt before.
Petra is the first to move. She drops the plug and goes to sit down, here. She looks at her surroundings. She sees Rachel and Vork and smiles at them.
Rourke smiles and sits down too. Here. Then Rourke wonders whether he should be the first to speak, but he doesn't know what to say, and he thinks he should say something important, and right now, nothing comes to him. So he says nothing.
Petra looks at him as if she knows what he's thinking. And then she looks at Rachel to see what she's doing.
Rourke also looks at Rachel.
And yes, it's Rachel who's the first to speak. Before she makes a move, she says, "The story of the three friends in the forest." She says it as if accepting it, or assuming it, or taking it in the way a person welcomes news, whether good or bad. Rachel says, "The story of the three friends in the forest." And then she moves. Whether the sound of the forest, as we hear it, it is ending.
In the forest, we hear the sound of the forest, which is ending.
Rachel, Petra, and Rourke hear the sound of what is ending.
And Petra, Rourke, and Rachel think about what is beginning.
What has already begun.
Now that everything is wrapping up.
Or has already wrapped up.
We hear the sound of the world that is ending. And Petra imagines something of her own, which is new.
And Rachel imagines something of her own, which is new.
And Rourke imagines something of his own, which is new.
Petra, Rachel, and Rourke go to the table and use it to tell the stories they want to tell, and to tell them the way they want to tell them. They use their flashlights and the matches they chose to represent themselves, and maybe leaves, sticks, rocks. While they tell these stories, the world around them goes on, ending little by little. The lights go out, little by little. The soundscape fades, little by little. The demiurge comes out and starts packing up the scene. theater, there is more and more darkness and silence as the world of the precursors continues to disappear, while the precursors go on telling the stories they wanted to tell.
Okay, thanks for staying to talk about what we all just saw. My name's Neil Blackadder. I'm going to moderate the discussion we're going to have, and I'm doing that because oh, good idea, thank you. If the lighting could be changed so that we're not being blinded, if we could, I don't know, could some house lights be brought up so we can see the audience? Anyway, my name's Neil Blackadder. As Kelsey said earlier, I'm one of the 5 members of the committee that this time did the selection of the plays. We read all the plays that were submitted to this this contest that we've been doing. That, as has already been said, we're all very excited about and pleased that this collaboration has continued. So the 5 of us read all these plays, and then we selected a short list of 5 that we passed on to Scoundrel and Scamp so that they could choose the play that they thought would work best as a stage reading. And the play that you just saw, obviously, was the winner. So I'd like to start by asking Don to tell us a little bit about how he, who is primarily a poet and a translator in poetry, how he came to write a fascinating Spanish play for a change.
Slip of the tongue to translate. Is it? Oh, I guess that's an upgrade. I don't know if Luis would like that phrasing. Yeah, it was, and I want to thank this amazing troupe of people. I mean, I thought it was quite wonderful. And I also have to thank the Cultural Office of the Spanish Embassy for contacting me, along with some fellow translators, and sheer luck that I was the first one to respond to the call to do this. And I had been going to ALTA, and as Neil said, I translate mostly poetry, but the Spanish office had been coming to ALTA to discuss a program where they will fund translations of fiction, prose in general, from Spain. And I went to this, and I thought, well, I'm not a fiction writer. It might be interesting to try to translate a novel, but I don't write novels. And but my name got on the list, and then I was contacted again, and I just happened to have my computer on at the time and responded as quick as I could. So that's how it came about. They sent me the text, and I, emailed with Luis, and eventually met him. He lives in Madrid, and of course I want to thank him. And then I plunged into it. It was fascinating because one thing with the play, obviously, and I had a deadline. I'm retired, so I had some time, and I went, but I went at it kind of like the story, right? I went at it every day. I didn't have a number system. I didn't have that, and it never actually occurred to me to be very meta self, and think. At some point, I'm thinking, why am I translating this? But no, that never came up. That's how it.
And have you got to know the playwright, Luis Sorolla?
Yes, actually fairly well. I met him after the play was translated. We corresponded. He thankfully is quite fluent in English, and obviously I can read Spanish, but close one-on-one conversation is much easier for me. And we spoke in English. He's a very interesting guy. Probably in his 30s. Very good looking. He's an actor as well as works with a small theater group. And the play, he told me, basically had its origins in a lot of improvisational things. He is the author. I mean, he wrote the final words, but the small theater group was playing around with these various ideas. And there were many weird moments in the translation in which I had to do research, and these days on the web you can do all kinds of stuff. So I had to look up the Lion King and see what the exact words were and that kind of thing.
One of the things that's unusual about, and I like that it's a good point to mention that the play grew out of a somewhat improvisational process, and one of the things in the script that's unusual, but he makes it very clear in the opening stage directions that, for instance, the actors use their own names, right? And he actually says that the three characters should have the names of whatever the three actors are, and also that it could be two men and two women, or two women and one man. It could even be three of the same, although he says that's not the best idea. But there's another thing in the script that you saw a staged version of, which is the parts where they're speaking at the same time, that he uses a different color font for the three of them, which is like the way on the page to capture what you saw, what you heard in the delivery of the lines. Let me turn attention to Dawn and talk a little bit to us about how exactly what you decided to do with this script, because the term, as some of you, I imagine there's some variety in how familiar the rest of you are with stage reading. Sometimes stage readings are done literally just with actors at music stands delivering the lines. Other times more is done. I mean, this was almost kind of like a workshop production or something a little bit beyond that. I think I can understand why you made that decision, but tell us why you chose to do it the way you did.
Yeah, thank you. First, this is one of my favorite scripts I've ever gotten my little hands on, and I kept telling these guys, I'm like, I would love to workshop this and bring it to full life. Really beautiful. Part of the decision was really based on the way the script has so much ambiance, which if you have the privilege of reading it on the page, the way that Don translated it with the pauses, and there's so much feeling in it. And so the decision really was, how can we capture the experience of the tension in this context? And so it was a decision to simplify the stage in order to respect that we are doing a staged reading with scripts, but to try to pull as much from the page as we could to give that sort of that feeling of repetition and that, yeah.
So can you tell us a bit about the approach you took to the demiurge? Because from what I remember of reading the script, it's left pretty. It's not made that clear. In fact, what is made clear, if I'm remembering correctly in the script, is that the demiurge should be played by someone else who's involved in the production. It could even be the director, which as a director I thought was an interesting idea. I would not have been up for doing what you did if I'd done that. But anyway, again, he's leaving a lot open to the director's vision, which directors obviously love. But can you talk a bit about how you came up with what you did with the demiurge?
Yeah, so it does say that it should be the director, but because I had to also get someone here to read the stage directions, it seemed like overkill to have yet another person come in and do yet another thing. So it made sense that the person helping out with the stage directions would also do the demiurge bit. That is all I can take credit for, was casting Tristan, who said, I have a feeling. Do you want to speak a little bit to, are you on or do you need to speak?
I'm on. Yeah, the demiurge, to me, it's written very abstract. And for me, the demiurge gave me this feeling of something that was ancient, yet still very young, and it had a very kind of motherly feeling to it, and maybe just a little bit of, not necessarily malice, but an element of the sinister. And I played around with the idea in my head, and I went to Don and I was like, I said, I have some ideas about the costuming. I think it would be interesting if we went with like a black skirt and a black corset and lacy black Venetian mask. And she was like, yeah, I can get behind that.
What's interesting too are all the hints that the playwright gives us, right? It's called the Precursors, and yet it seems like it's at the end of the world. And then to name the character the demiurge, I don't know if everybody's familiar with the sort of the Gnostic story about what that is, but it's definitely a creepy, very specific kind of energy in this place that is some place but also no place.
Great. Well, let's give the audience a chance to weigh in with some questions, whether they're about the translation or about what the director and the actors did with it. Great job, by the way. I thought the acting was great. I mean, actually, I love stage readings, because sometimes the way that they allow you to just listen to the text when it's delivered well by actors, it's like, oh, we don't need all that other stuff, you know. You enable, like, there's no blocking. They're just standing there, and it enables you to really appreciate the way that they bring the characters to life. Anyway, any questions from anyone out there? I see a hand up here, yeah.
I assume Kmart was not in the original script. And
sorry.
I'm wondering how many choices like that did you end up making?
Well, the Kmart one, I'd really go off the mark to actually what I really wanted to have them say at some point, attention Kmart shoppers. But that's like adding a little too much. That would be, but yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm trying to remember in the script, I think it doesn't list a Spanish, chain store, but it's clearly something like that. And actually, this time around, it's a kind of interesting question, I think, for everybody. I left the characters' names as Luis had them in Spanish. There's no notes in there, and I translated, but those are clearly Spanish names. And some of them, you know, for native English speakers, are a bit of a mouthful, you know.
I assume they have Kmart in Spain, which I thought was a sad
Might be
thought.
called some,
Do they have
Alcampo is a chain in Spain. I guess I could have, a chain in Spain.
That's what I was expecting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we also have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States,
That's
so
true.
it's entirely reasonable that
Yeah,
people that
yeah.
are in Kmart are pronounce Spanish names.
Yeah. But that gets, you know, I mean, I wonder, I could talk to Luis about it, you know, like, should these, he's very clear about the, you know, the three principles having, they don't have to be the names of the actors, but, you know, they're not supposed to be the names in the original of Rodri and, I can't remember them now. And so they're, you know, they're Petra and the other guys. And
I'll just put in a plug as many of you know, a committed advocate for theatrical translation of plays for the theatre and how that's different. And I would say that, you know, one of the nice things I like about theatre is if you were doing a production of this, the final decision about whether to make it Kmart or something else, ideally would be made out of a conversation between the translator and the director and the dramaturg, and if you've got contact with the author too, so that Luis could wait, you know, like John's talking about questions you can ask. That it's not like it's a static thing that has to be put on the stage in the way it is on the page. It's an organic thing, which is how I think about theatre translation. Other questions from the audience?
You could say dramaturg. Could you tell us what that means in America?
Ah, well, I taught a course on that. I mean that is, yeah. The way the word dramaturg is used in America is somewhat different from the way it's used in European traditions, and it's also somewhat different in different European countries. I'm a frequent member of the literary managers and dramaturgs of the Americas, so I spend a lot of time with people who also, like me, teach courses on how to explain to people what a dramaturg is. I mean, a dramaturg can mean lots of things. The fact that the organisation also includes literary management. Dramaturgs are often people who are involved in season planning, in choosing scripts. So there's institutional dramaturgy, which is helping theatres choose their season, reading lots of plays and making decisions about them. But then there's also production dramaturgy, where a dramaturg would be a member of a production team. So there's a sort of comic image of the dramaturg, which is the one who comes to rehearsal with a big pile of books that they brought from the library. So there's sort of this bad rep notion of the dramaturg as being these sort of sticklers that come say, oh no, you can't say that because I just looked it up and that. But I think actually a dramaturg can also be a much more creative contributor to the creative process, along with the director, and a kind of sometimes a dramaturg ends up functioning almost more like an assistant director. I don't know what, Dawn, if you have your own experience of working with dramaturgs.
I do. I had to do it myself for this piece, which was fun. But one of the great aspects of having someone who's digging into the text in the historical context, adding the socio-political color to it, is that you may not ever specifically say anything that the dramaturg has brought to your attention, but it absolutely colors the way that you shape the way that the play looks and sounds and the actor's preparation. So I find it very valuable.
I liked her answer better than mine. We could come back to Alexis. Were there anyone else? I thought there was another hand further back. Hi.
Hi. One thing I think is so fascinating about translating theater is that, it all ultimately will come down to maybe the director's decisions, the acting decisions. I'm curious, like, as a translator, did you have a certain vision in mind, or is it when you're translating theater, are you thinking, like, here are the words, and then we'll find out what people do with them? Like, I'm very curious.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, as I pointed out, I'm a neophyte. I've translated a lot of poetry, and I suppose there's some parallel things because you're thinking. I translate living poets, so you're thinking like, how is this going to sound? Perhaps there is this parallel to something that the poet might say. I think I got, as I mentioned, I got very immersed in the day-to-day process of going through it. You know, obviously, first I read it. I think I read it twice, and then I thought instead of picking the scenes that I was most interested in, that I would do it consecutively. And when you hear the stage directions read and the preface, I remember it took me a long time, and I started getting kind of because Luis is very explicit, and the whole thing about, well, you heard it right, about pauses and how, and this, and seeing it in this particular format with the stage and the whole meta level of them reading texts in front of you, it added a thing. But I could you guys really brought out the kind of anxiety in the, and it's clear. Yeah, I mean, it's clear. Like myself, I'm nervous anyway. But I was thinking, oh, is this too long? Is it, And I think that's part of what you are seeing in the play and really bringing that out. But yeah, I think I was mostly just trying to what would you say, finding a parallel to what Louise had written, and also one aspect, I do this when I translate poems as well. I'm a very oral person, so I always read, and when my own work even, I read it aloud over and over and over, but that's in my poet voice, and trying to make sure that every line is something that a human being in American English would say. And of course, hearing it again, you always have this, nothing's ever finished. You have to say, oh yeah, maybe I should have, that whatever. And yeah, so that was probably my main thought. And as I say, I'm a neophyte, and a colleague over here, Stephen, was pointing out the very interesting panel. The question of when you're translating the voices of different characters, how do you keep them all from sounding like you? And I figure in a way that's kind of the playwright's responsibility. But with this play in particular, the three characters, they all come to the realization at various points of, in different ways. And I learn things every time I, see it or think about it. But the one who's most committed to that world,
Right here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, is the one that finally gets really damned when it turns out it's his brother, and the characters are different in terms of when they come to realization and how do they react to this crazy situation. And I think in a funny way, going back to this thing that my colleague Stephen had mentioned to me, there's a way in which these are sort of every people. They're, and that's partly, I think, why Luis said, use their names, and,
It's interesting how different it is from a lot of theatre where, in the writing and in actors working on parts, they would be trying to figure out what do we know about this person's family of origin, what do we know about their socioeconomic status, and there's just none of that here really, because they're just like three kids. I'm going to go to Kelsey and then up to Sean, and then there's also Dick. But
I would love to hear from the actors.
well, that was going to be my
Yeah. Did you feel that there was a difference in putting on a staged reading of a translated play versus working on other plays that have been originally written in English? Did you notice anything? Any differences?
Oh, you're passing the mic to me. I've done a stage reading here, and I do feel like there's a difference. I think that's a really hard question. I think part of it is like the length and the willingness to have pauses, because I feel like very Americanized audiences don't really like pauses. They like it when the story goes on and it's faster. But it's very obvious in the script that pauses are like given time and respect. And I feel like that maybe is partly because of, I guess, like his artistic style, but also just the differences. So that's
the big thing I noticed.
Other thoughts, actors?
I really like what Rachel said. I think that's a great observation. I think, there were times where I felt like things were worded differently than what I'm used to, and I think that is a product of being a translation. But yeah, I think overall it was just very well translated, and therefore I didn't notice many differences.
I would agree. It was there were no like things that felt like they were lost in translation.
Yeah.
You wouldn't find them anyway.
Yeah, like it felt like everything was there, and there were so many like parallels throughout, or like things that tied together that were never said, but were all there, that just all worked. That like there were no translation issues that we ran into. So yeah, that made it easier.
One of the things that can happen, I don't know if it happened for you, is that when I'm a translator in the room with actors reading a work of mine, often actors will instinctively improve my translation without even really knowing what they're doing. They just kind of, I don't know if you found, if these guys did any of that.
Improve it how?
Well, just like they instinctively change. Like I'll have written a line and they'll reword it. They might just change the order, and they don't even sometimes. So I'm making notes. I'm that's actually much better than what I did. And they didn't even. They weren't correcting me. They just kind of came out of them. That yeah.
Interesting.
Sounds like the demiurge is about to speak.
For me, I mean, we did make a lot of cuts in the stage directions, just because there's so many. I mean, there's a lot. But for me, I didn't so much find myself subconsciously rewording things. I think that's probably a testament to the success of the translation. For me, it felt a lot like Shakespeare. It was heightened speech.
Well, that's not a bad point of comparison. I'll take that.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Oh, that hack.
I've heard of him, sure.
I'm interested in this thing about the characters being sort of every people, and like, this is, as you were saying, this is clearly like a really different style of theater than you tend to get in the English-speaking world. And so as actors, like when you're building these characters where you don't have background information, where they're in this like abstracted environment, where they're behaving in kind of an abstracted way, like how did each of you kind of develop your own individual character? Like what cues and tools and things did you use to make them into a fully rounded character?
And to add on to that, using your own name.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. Thank you.
Well, using our own names definitely felt very strange, because I think, with acting, there's always like a layer of separation between you and the character, no matter what. And yeah, it made it very odd. But your question about, okay, yes. I think something that helps is the fact that the characters themselves have forgotten their backstory. And so the fact that there isn't really much we know about what happened to them before, instead of it being an obstacle, it is kind of like a tool and a help to building the characters. Yeah, and I think I found that there were still, there were all the, emotions and conflicts and desires that you need to develop a character. Yeah.
Can I just add something interesting? It was hard to talk about, to Rachel about the Rachel character, and to Petra about the Petra character, because it's the same name. And a little fun behind the scenes, we're trying to figure out who's older. And Petra and Rourke are related to each other, but we decided that Petra would be the older sibling. The Petra character is the older sibling, even though actually younger, and so it got very meta and very bizarre very, very quickly.
Yeah. I feel like for me, I don't know, using my name didn't. It didn't. I feel like I'm used to working with theater that's just very bizarre. So I was kind of like, yeah, that makes sense. But he really does give so much character though, with just the way that they speak and the mantras that they keep saying. Like you can definitely tell with my character, with Rachel, that it's like if you think about how would you react if your world was ending or if the world was ending, and there's like different reactions, and I contextualize like our reactions as different responses. It's like me, I just try to like push through with the plan, and like that's the way. And there's a lot of people that do that. Like they're going through hardships and they're like, I'm just gonna keep going. So that's what kind of helped focus my character. And then I could tell how like see with the other characters, I guess in my thoughts was like, one was trying really hard and then like to create a new status quo, I guess. And then the other one was kind of stuck in the middle. So that kind of helped inform my process. Like even if I didn't know what happened before, I know what's happening now. And like as an actor, I can just look at what's happening now, and that really helped.
That was great, interesting answers. I think we should probably take one more and then let you go out into the night.
So wait, you only
okay.
want questions. In other words, you don't want any comments, apparently, from the audience.
You can make comments. I mean,
Well, you said questions.
right.
So it seems to me that you've excluded comments.
Well, I think of it as a Q&A, question and answer. I mean,
I have a comment about the demiurge, which is the most interesting thing in the play.
okay.
I think that I'd like to know if Don wrote to call the guy in Madrid and said, what do you think of the stage manager, who's a relatively benevolent, gentle figure, observing the end of the world, playing the demiurge at the same time? Because the demiurge with this hoarse, the voice that you chose for the demiurge, not a voice, I don't know the right word, the growling, panting sound was not exactly a supportive, paternal, gentle. Whereas you, as the human representative of stage manager, you were a really nice guy, stage manager. You're watching the end of the world, but you have sympathy for them. But the demiurge's hoarseness was very ominous, very sinister, and one felt that the demiurge was in the legions of the forces that are ending the universe. And yet the same actor in this presentation played both roles. And yet one role is supportive and the other role, willy-nilly, he is a servant of destruction. He's a participant in destruction.
It's fascinating.
So that's my question.
Yeah, no, I understand. So, is this something you talked to Luis about?
No, actually, that did not come up. I think my sense of he uses that term, but my sense of his sense, it's just part of the, I don't know what you get Brechtian at the end, Verhandlungseffekt, that you're aware that, and so if it's a director or a stage manager, that night is created by the lights turned off, and so that the stage is never, the reality of the stage world, I'm not good at talking about this stuff, is constantly interrupted. And including that, I was just thinking when the actors were talking about the characters, I think all three of them at one point or another break into a kind of highly academic, Marxist analysis. And so any illusion that the voices are kind of intrude, obviously there's naturally an illusion that the voices are intrinsic to the characters, is periodically broken, very deliberately so, by that. And yet there's other scenes when they're singing or they're remembering things or forgetting things or whatever.
Did you find the songs?
Sorry?
Who created the songs?
Oh, there's a story. I'll make it really quick. I had to do a lot of research. The Lion King. My daughter was born in 1979, and I don't think I ever saw The Lion King. I think but it fits the time period. So, and you can see it online. And I could find the exact passages, and so that's there. The Say My Name is just a real fortunate thing, and I talked with Luis about it, because the song in Spanish, no one would know. You could translate it, but no
So
one would
there
understand.
were different songs in Spanish, and you substituted them for
Yeah.
English songs. Oh, I see.
Oh, that's my question.
Yeah, I was singing the Say My Name thing, which was also the most fun part to translate, because I got to swear in English and realize how different swearing is in different cultural. And this is specifically Spain. I mean, if it had been a Mexican author, it would have been different, words.
So what was the song in Spanish? If it
Yeah.
wasn't Say My Name, what was it?
Oh no, it wasn't. It was a song I didn't recognize. It's apparently an old folky song, and everybody knows it in Spain. And the memorization thing, what they forget is actually a line in the song. And I,
Not this songwriter.
Right,
Yeah.
that was the shift that Don mentioned.
yeah, that's entirely me. And it was just fortunate. I think I probably heard that, but as I say, I became a parent in 1979, and Destiny's Child was just coming out at that point, and the song dates, I looked it up at 83, maybe something like that. And it's such a terrific song, and it just totally fortuitous that the title was Say My Name, and because it's one of these things like, who are these people? And
Existentially, philosophically, picking you picked it. That's a
I picked
terrific
it,
choice.
yeah.
It really influences our feeling about the fundamental quiet despair of the whole 2-hour play. Say
Yeah.
my name, but they're trying to find meaning.
Right.
Yeah.
And identity, your name is the beginning of creating at least the illusion of meaning.
Yeah.
So that was a perfect choice.
Agreed.
Can we do one more?
Also,
Okay.
the singing was very good.
Yeah, no, I thought you guys did a great job with the singing, yeah. Dick, did you want to?
Yeah, I had two, but let me try to just make one. One was about, like, which I think you sort of answered by saying about the songs. I was trying to figure out, was the play really any place, like their characters, or any person, or was the play really Spain and you needed to transpose it to here, or was the play really sort of anywhere, and so that wasn't much of a problem? The other question, and then you can answer whichever one you want. The other question was, I forget what one of the epigraphs is, but one of them is Beckett. And I was wondering, both for the actors and for you, and I felt like I can't get out of here. I mean, are we ever going to be able to get out of here? Like crabs like paper waiting for Godot in a different way. But
Yeah,
anyway,
very good.
so did that influence your thinking about the translation, or you all thinking about the staging?
The being trapped idea.
And the Beckett idea.
Yeah. It's certainly in the play. I didn't feel confined as I was translating it, but it's clearly there. And the Lion King stuff is also about being inside a cage, and but the actors probably.
Yeah, does Dawn or the actors, did you feel like Beckett was in the rehearsal room with you?
And Chekhov too. The conversation that we had about the script, and you could tell that it was partially devised. That there was stuff that was spontaneously created with that specific group of people. But there are just layers within layers within layers within layers. And now I'm eager to read the original Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but I'm eager to read the original Spanish because I'm very curious about all the little layers that are in there of the references and the vibes and the different. I did not answer the question. Oh. If we're talking about like the quotes from the beginning, I think the one that kept repeating for me was the cherry tree and my dog, because the dog is tied to the cherry tree, and there's so many references to cutting down the forest, and then in my mind, the end of the, because I try to create an image in my mind at the end of the play. At the end of the play, the tree was chopped down that he was tied to, so the dog can run free now. And that, creating these images in my mind is really what helps me as an artistic person. And he gives that to us too, is like chopping down the forest. There's so many references to the trees, and why are we even in the forest?
Right.
And then the forest all goes away at the end. We tear it down that we're in. What was the question again?
Just talk.
Okay. Yeah. We'll say that covered it.
Okay, well, thank you for your participation in this conversation, and thanks again to this wonderful cast. Did a great job with Don's wonderful translation.